Right, so you want actions to happen automatically when something happens in your database. There are many use cases for these, but today we're going to be looking at an use case for a project that I'm working on, in which when something happens in the database, there are database triggers that happen subsequent actions in a workflow that will be happening in the server rather than on the user's browser. So in this case, users will be scanning QR code to check in an individual into an event. And once they get checked in, an email will be sent and other things would happen. With that being said, let's take a look and see exactly how we're going to accomplish this using database triggers to make it as easy as possible. And just as a reference, what's going to happen is that when the user or the person at the door scans this QR code, it will lead them straight into a link that we have predetermined that we change the data in the backend, and that will change the basket deliver from no to yes, and it will have a timestamp. We're reorganizing a little bit on this whole entire database, and we're just adapting the Desme CRM template that we have created for the World Marketplace, and we are readapting it for this specific use case. So it would create the timestamp, it would change the basket deliver from no to yes. And now when that changed from no to yes, then that's when we need to be able to go and make sure that there's an email being sent. Now, as a matter of reference, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan the QR code so you can see, pay attention to this right side where it says basket receive time. And that's where you're going to see the change. I'm scan this with my phone really quick. It's loading. You can see it's still a React screen. It has loaded, and now you can see right here, there is a timestamp. So we're going to lower this. We're going to go back to the back end, back to the database. And now let's look at Joe Snuffy. There is a timestamp on the basket receive time and change from no to yes. What we're going to do is we're going to change it back to no because we're going to be testing this quite a bit today. We're going to save it again. Now it's the one at the bottom. Now let's go to the workflows, to the backend workflows, and let's create a new database trigger. This is the database trigger, how you create it. So you click on the workflow, you click on new and database trigger event. Database trigger event is going to be saying basket receive email. And I might have to change that a little bit in a moment, but and the data type is going to be a recipient because that's what we're going to be looking at, the recipient. That's where the field in the database is. And we're not going to do anything else right now in this specific. I'm sorry. In this specific window, what we're going to do is we're going to add an action, and that will be sending an email. And the email, actually, we're going to delete this. We're going to create a new API workflow. And the reason why we're doing that is because we want to pass data from the front end or from the database front end back into the back end. Send basket receive email. And this is not going to be a public API workflow. We're not going to do it from the front end, but we're going to ignore privacy rules and we're going to run it without authentication. This is going to be the email address. What else can we add? No, actually, we're going to pass the timestamp, which would be a date. Let's see what other information would be useful. perhaps first name. We're going to leave it at that. And this is going to send an email. Again, the reason why we're doing this as a separate workflow is because we can pass data on to the backend. And this is going to be the email address. Sender name would be myself. It's going to leave it def moment. It's going to be thank you so much for logging and be keep up basket. Nice. Let's see. We're going to use the first name here. I see you big that basket to add. Let's add the timestamp. And now here for the trigger, we're going to schedule that API workflow that we just created at the current date and time, whenever it happened. And the recipient before chain basket deliver is no, and recipient now. Just now basket deliver is yes. All right, so what we're saying is when you look at the database and there's somebody that specific field that is the yes, no, basket deliver is no, and now it has changed to yes, then you will do this specific action. And we're going to leave it as it is for now because so this is going to be recipient email address and the basket receive time. And this is the first name. All right. This is what's going to happen now. Let's get it from the window. Change. We're going to go on the database. I will add an email address that I would throw away email address. And then we are going to reload and make sure that it's working correctly. So let's give this a try. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the email address, demo email address that I have there for another one that I have access to. Click save. And going to go back to the dashboard and I'm going to reload the page. Let me make sure that this is set to null. Yep, it's set to null. I'm going to reload the page here on my phone with that special link that we had. And we're going to open this. It's set to yes. There's a new timestamp, which is right now. To click save. We're going to lower arc. And here we have the email. So it did work exactly how we intended it to work. October 22nd, which is today, 3:47 p.m., which is right now. It's coming from the email that I asked to come from, and this is the subject. So now we know that it actually works as intended. Now, with that being said, there are many use cases for which you can use backend workflows for. And I'm creating more videos on backend workflows here in the next few days. But this specifically, the database trigger is one that I have been exploring for a while. It's really powerful because it can do things that realistically would take some time and effort to plan to do and make sure that it works given different use cases. This is one that you don't have to think about the use cases. You just have to set it up, and in every use case, it will work. With that being said, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. If you can, please like this video. It helps me reach more people. Also, additionally, if you like my videos, if you like the tutorials that I put together, please consider subscribing. Trying to reach 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible so I can start monetizing, putting together better content, doing a little bit more editing, and why not making nicer videos, but I cannot do that unless I'm getting monetized because the time that I'm spending editing videos, I could be spending it on building other things. But regardless, I really appreciate you trusting on my tutorials. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with me. And I will be releasing more tutorials this week. I see you in the next one.